Welcome to Marie's Wedding Workshop, lesson number 1. We got a small chunk to work through in this lesson, so you can get really good at it before we move along to lesson 2. The link's below with all the lessons, and as well as I got some sheet music highlighted where I start and end each lesson for you. So here we're starting with our introductory note on the E, and we're going all the way right down to that low G. So our E, our top hand, usually our left hand, ring finger is up. That's our E, bottom hand, all the fingers are down except the pinky finger is up. That's our low A position. And we are in that low A position for all the top hand notes. So that's our E, our introductory note, and we're going right down to low G. So both those two fingers have to come down and cover their holes at the same time. If you want to get there with the G grace note like I demonstrated previously, you want to lift up that top finger, do the transition down to low G, that top finger comes down. There's the slow motion version. And then our next note is going to be a low A. And that low A, we just have to lift up the pinky finger of the bottom hand. And we can get there with a D grace note. So the D grace note is the top finger of the bottom hand. So we can lift up that finger first, go to the low A position, then that finger comes down again. And here's what we got so far. And those two notes, those first two notes, not counting the introductory E note, those first two notes, the low G and the A, they're the same length. So one isn't longer or shorter than the other. And here, what was that? You might ask, that was a burl. So we have two low A's in a row. They're separated by this crazy thing called a burl. Just some easier options if you're not quite at burls yet. You could just do a single finger tap with the pinky. So that tap with the pinky would be just fine. If you wanted to try one version of a burl, it's a quick double tap with the pinky. So that's the double tap. If you want to do a full out burl, we're going to slide the pinky down across the hole and then come back up the hole rather quickly. So slide down across, come up rather quickly. So we're not trying to slide way past the hole. We're just sliding enough that we catch that low G sound and then we hear the low A sound again. So the pinky might still be half on the hole before you kind of slide back up. And often to get it even quicker, when you slide back up, you can bend that pinky as you slide back up. So straight on the way down, bent as you slide up, and that'll give you that burl sound. And if your pinky just isn't sliding that well, you can get it a little slipperier with some good old forehead grease or behind the ear grease to get that pinky to slide a little bit quicker. And if you're just starting out, this is one of your first tunes, that pinky just might be lucky if it's finding that low G hole at all. So even if you're not quite onto the burl, you can always do that single tap or double tap. So I want to talk a little bit about timing here. So we're in a 2-4 march. So 2-4. So you'll see at the far left of the top line of the sheet music, again, it's in the link below, there's a 2 above a 4. So the 2 means there's 2 beats in every bar. 1, 2. The 4 means it's the quarter note that gets the beat. So if it was written in a bar with 2 quarter notes, each of those quarter notes get a beat. Now, in this first bar, we don't have 2 quarter notes. We start out with 2 eighth notes. So eighth note, they each get a half beat. So those first 2 notes are the same length. We have a downbeat on that low G, and then that low A is on the upbeat. So that downbeat is the low G, upbeat is the low A. And then our next downbeat is on that burl. So that low A with the burl is the next downbeat. And that burl, it doesn't quite. We have a dotted eighth note, so it gets a little bit more than half of that beat, and the next note's going to be a little bit shorter. So you hear that next note, that B, coming from the low A. To get to that B, we just lift up the ring finger of the bottom hand. No embellishment on that one. So that B note is a little bit shorter than that low A with the burl. So we can tell it's written that way because the sheet music, there's a dot on the low A. That tells us it's held a little bit longer, and then there's a little dash line, which is a cut, tells us that B's a little bit shorter. So that low A and B still have to fit in a beat of the bar. So, but one is a little bit longer, one's a little bit shorter. Whereas the first two eighth notes we have, they're the exact same length. They're not dotted, they're not cutted. They're just, one's half a beat, the other's the other half of the beat. And that B's short. And you'll hear that D throw, which we'll get into in lesson 2, is on the next full beat, and that's starting off bar 2 with that beat on the D throws, which we'll talk about in lesson 2. Again, click on the link below. Hopefully that timing and explaining what the 2-4 means and where those downbeats fall will help you with this little chunk, which I'll play for you just one more, and I can't wait to see it in lesson 2.